Hey there, Star Wars fans. Welcome back to the Hyperspace Database. I'm your host, Jonesy the Mandalorian, here with today's topic, the Gozanti-class cruiser. The Gozanti-class armed transport was a powerful cruiser developed by the Corellian Engineering Corporation prior to the Clone Wars, and was used by many different factions for many years afterwards. There were many different versions of this ship, with many models being larger or more heavily armed than others, but the most popular of these was the Imperial class Gozanti cruiser. The Imperial Gozanti was 63.8 meters long, 32 meters wide, and 14.7 meters high. It was equipped with deflector shields and a Class 3 hyperdrive with a backup 12, and the ship's maximum atmospheric speed was 1,025 kilometers per hour. This version of the ship was only armed with a twin laser turret on the rear of the ship, as well as a heavy laser cannon on the underside of the ship. The first Gozanti design was developed before the Clone Wars, around 34 years before the Battle of Yavin, and was seen throughout the years that followed in service to many different organizations. There was a Gozanti-class cruiser called Crate's Honor seen in the Wars Hyperspace spaceport during the events of the Phantom Menace, shortly before Anakin Skywalker won the Boon to Eve Classic pod race. During the Clone Wars, the ship was used by the Confederacy of Independent Systems, with the Odd-O-class super tactical droid in charge, while later on in the war, others were used by Zygerian slavers to ferry their prisoners from planet to planet. These ships were popular with criminal organizations like Black Sun, who were known to have their own variant of the craft that were heavily modified with illegal systems. This ship bore the traditional markings of the Black Sun logo while being painted dark colors to ensure that those that saw the ship knew who they were dealing with. They were often used by merchants because of their security while transporting goods, and were also used as prison ships because of their tough exterior and durability. Many years after the Clone Wars, after the Republic had fallen and the Empire was established, many of these cruisers were redesigned by the Galactic Empire to mainly serve as transports for vehicles and personnel. The Imperial model of the Gozanti cruiser ferried ships and vehicles across the galaxy, from TIE fighters and TIE bombers to AT-DPs, AT-STs, and even AT-ATs. The Gozanti cruiser has been seen in many forms of Star Wars media, from the Clone Wars TV show and Rebels animated series to the EA Battlefront games and Squadrons, as well as in miniature form in the X-Wing Miniatures tabletop game. Fun fact, the Gozanti cruisers were used to deploy the AT-ATs on the planet Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back, as the original ships used for that task, the Y-85 Titan dropships, were considered too slow and exposed to enemy fighter attack. The Gozanti cruisers were seen many times in the animated Rebels TV series, as the Imperials would often use the ships to transport landwalkers to attack the Spectres and members of the Phoenix Cell. One Gozanti cruiser was seen just after the destruction of the first Death Star in the novel Lost Stars, in a recovery mission to retrieve Darth Vader from the remnants of the Behemoth space station. The Imperial officers picked up Lord Vader and were promptly ordered to stay in the cargo bay while he himself piloted the ship back to the Imperial fleet. Another notable Gozanti was the Blood Crow, which was the ship of Grand Admiral Thrawn's first command when he was only a lieutenant, and he served alongside his protege and translator, Eli Vanto. One more notable appearance of the Gozanti cruiser comes in the live-action Star Wars series The Mandalorian, in the third episode of the second season, called The Heiress, when Mando assists Bo-Katan in taking over a Gozanti-class assault carrier filled with weapons, in order to help in their attack in retaking Mandalore. While the Imperial Gozanti cruiser was the most popular during the reign of the Empire, there were many variants that appeared and were in use at that time. One famous variant of the Gozanti is the IGV-55 surveillance vessel, or Imperial listener ship, which functioned as an infiltration and espionage ship, and was seen in the Rebels episode Double Agent Droid, when Chopper gets hacked while on a mission and attempts to sabotage the Ghost through the listener's instructions. Another variant of the Gozanti was the Sea Rock variant, or the Configuration Restored Operational Capacity Gozanti Cruiser, which was an officially modified model produced by the Corellian Engineering Corporation to revitalize the aging Gozanti design. This variant was bulkier and had a softer look than its hard-edged predecessor, and possessed many mechanical upgrades that allowed for more cargo to be transported via the outrigger wings on the ship. One of these upgraded Gozantis was the Broken Horn, seen in the Rebels TV show owned by the smuggler Vizago, while yet another, called Merchant One, was owned by the criminal Az Morrigan. The Gozanti-class cruiser was a popular transport with many different organizations because of its versatility and modability, especially in addition to there being many different models to suit the needs and desires of their owners. Whether it was in use by the Empire as a vehicle transport, or the criminal sector for transporting spice and other illegal substances, or even if it was just used in the legitimate civilian sector, the Gozanti-class cruiser was well-rounded and respected, and had a long and popular life as the go-to ship for those that had transportation needs across the galaxy. Want to know more about Star Wars topics just like this one? Be sure to stick around again for some secret trivia, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and you can check out my other videos for great Star Wars content. Be sure to chat with me in the comments and follow the show on social media too. I want to hear from you guys. Super special shout out to my Platinum Commander level supporter on Patreon, Uber Kaiser Sose, and my Gold Captain level Patreon supporters, Nick Sutphin, Matthew Scott, and Miss 2003. Your support is super helpful in keeping the show going. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching this episode. Be sure to chat with me in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. See you later.